Welcome to the Personnel Subcommittee meeting for June 8th, 2023. I will call the meeting to order, and we're going to start with approval of the minutes. If anybody had any comments or changes to the minutes.
I do not.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is kind of revisiting the discussion on community for care recruitment. My dog is playing with a toy in the background, so I'm sorry if you hear that.
Yeah. All good.
I don't know why. Tom, do you want to give us like a summary of where we are?
Yes.
So I can go on mute.
Yes. So we, at the last meeting, we discussed that we still had an opening based on the last time that you guys did community for care interviews. We sent out an email to the 5 people that were still interested. We received the 1 response back that is in your packet from an Adam Borgoyne. So it's kind of up to you to, if you want to schedule an interview, or if you just kind of want to use his written response as the interview, kind of whatever process you guys would like to establish and follow through.
I have a question, Tom. Did we have to fill this slot with a particular party? Was it a D that we were looking for?
Good question. Let me go double check for us right now.
I think there's 1 Republican on the committee.
I just don't remember where we were at after we added the additional people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sherry's like the only Republican on it.
Sherry's a D. So I thought I went back through my notes on this. I thought we needed a D and an other. I don't know if that's a U or.
We actually have 1 D and 1 R slot open due to resignations. There's currently on the committee 2 R's, a D, and 2 U's.
So we need a D and an R is what you're saying?
I believe so.
Okay. So one question that I had, you said 5 are still interested. So I'm assuming we reached back out to everybody on the list that didn't do it.
Yep.
Great.
We got 1 person that said that they're not interested anymore. This 1 response, and then 3 no responses.
Okay. And then one note I had too, I went back through the emails, was that we had Sarah Guasta. She was a U. And I thought we didn't put her on the committee at the time, but we said we might put her back into consideration if we were looking at other people. I'm not sure if she's still interested or if that doesn't meet the party needs, but I just found that in an email from the 22nd of February. And then what party is Adam?
Hang on. Of that in an email somewhere. I can get it for you. If my email cooperates.
Okay.
He is a U.
He's a U.
So it actually looks like we can't actually use him at the moment.
Say that again.
It's a U, so it actually, sorry, it looks like we actually can't use his submission at the moment because of the.
Tom, this is a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen that was never formed by party. It was formed by numbers. So why are we constrained?
The charter originally, our charter, when a member resigns, that specific slot is tied to that party until the end of the term.
I agree, but that's in the structure where we divided up spots based on political party. We never did that for this committee, so I don't understand why that provision applies.
Okay, I can go.
Right?
I can work with town clerk to find out why.
Okay.
We have a legacy of contested spots, and it's gone back and forth depending on Board of Selectmen composition. But community for care was never part of that, right? So. I get that the charter says that, but
I'll look into it with our town clerk.
Yeah.
So, and one more question, Tom, is I know Monica Chaklis at one point said she didn't respond because she said she never heard from us, and she is an R. Did we ever? Is she off the radar?
Nope, she was in that 5 people that I emailed this since the last meeting and have not heard back.
Okay. Okay, so we have two people that are used that if Sarah's going to be interviewed and Adam, if we continue down that path, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And you're going to clarify then if we can take use.
Yeah, I'll work with town clerk today.
Okay,
I get it for, elected positions, obviously, but from an appointment standpoint, we can reconstitute these boards anytime we want. I mean, this is not in the charter, so we can change the number, the composition, et cetera. So,
Okay.
okay, so, but we're going to validate that? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we have two potential candidates.
and essentially, Tom asked the question, I mean, if we have to, we'll eliminate a Republican seat and add a U seat if we have to do this, I guess is what I'm saying. If that's but it seems silly that, again, from a non-constrained, non-charter board, we would have to follow those rules other than the minority rep statute, which I understand we have to follow.
Definitely.
Okay. So we can move on to the EDC commission recruitment. And I believe we need a.
Can I ask a question about that before we move on?
Sure.
Are we already had interviewed the woman, the you, right? And then for Adam, would we accept his written responses as his interview, or do you want to meet him in person? Because I felt like his written responses, showed he has a deep, professional experience in this area. And I really think we need to wrap this up because it's gone on for months trying to get this board completely filled out. So as soon as we get these questions answered, I mean, I'd like to move forward. I would be okay with accepting the written responses in order to do that. But if you want to meet with them, then I think we should move quickly to get this wrapped up.
I have no need to meet with them. I'm fine with the written responses.
Yeah, so if we can take the two U's, I would take the woman that we interviewed and then Adam.
Okay.
There's no one else, which is not a good statement, but if people aren't responding.
Well, and his background is incredible and he has a lot of experience in this and seems like he'd be a great addition. So I think that based on that, I'd be willing to move him forward.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, are we ready to move on to EDC?
Mm-hmm.
So we need an R and a U, correct, Tom?
Just now I'm double checking everything.
Okay.
We do need two slots, one U, and correct. So it could be a UD or an R because they resigned, and then one R.
Okay, so the question, do we want to set up interviews with some of these people, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Traditionally in the past, the EDC or the personnel sub has interviewed EDC applicants. And then we have a standard set of questions that we've done in the past. And then they'll discuss on the night of the interviews and then forward that to the board of selectmen.
Okay. So what does the group want to do? Do you want to interview all of them? I picked a few candidates that I would be interested in interviewing. It wasn't all of them. So Matt, putting that out there. Some people didn't provide any background and some people provided 2 pages of background. And the positions indicate that they, might be a good addition to the commission.
I mean, if we're going to set up interviews, we might as well just do them all. Do 15 minutes, just get through it.
I mean, there's 6. So that'd be like an hour and a half if you did 15-minute slots.
Yeah.
Some of them might not go, it's rare that you get all of them to even come to the interview.
Right.
Okay.
But I agree, if we're gonna potentially weed people out, I think that, people that didn't provide the background, but since there's only 6, I would be okay if we tried to just schedule a one evening, like hour and a half, and just open it up to all 6 and see who can come.
Sure.
I can
Go ahead, Tom.
I can send around a both of your schedules for the next couple of weeks, and then we could get it before your July board meeting, so then the person could go be appointed at the July meeting, if that works for you.
Sure. One thing I was going to ask if we could extend an invitation to Heather Getz, who's the EDC liaison, to sit in and listen. Is that legitimate?
Can't have 4 of us.
Okay, well, you'll be there, Sean.
Depends on what it is.
Okay, so maybe if you can't make it, we can extend that to Heather,
Sure.
just because she's been working with all the EDC members, and I think she could add value in who we select, because I've gone to maybe 2 meetings. I don't know if you guys have gone to any meetings.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to swap Heather for me, that's fine. But I mean,
Well, she may not.
you can't do it at personnel. You have to do it at the Board of Selectmen. So
Well, I was just thinking not voting, but just to whatever. Oh, yeah, I would.
I'm not offended. I mean, it's fine if you want to bring in Heather. Just you got to do it as a Board of Selectmen group, not a personnel group. But that's fine with me.
Well, let's see what we come up with, because she's going to Japan next week for 3 weeks. So,
Yeah,
she
so that's
may be
not
out of
going
the
to work.
picture.
That's not going to work then. Yeah.
Yeah, she may be out of the picture. Okay. Are we all set with that item? Sure. Okay, so the non-union compensation. So last meeting, we did vote on approve the 2.4 to move that. I had some questions on some of the data that was presented, specifically around the library director, the chief of police, and why the increases there were, well over the 2.4 wage increase. And so I had asked to see, and it says it was based on market. So I had reached out, at the meeting, I had asked to see where we came up with those salaries, so that we could show when we make the decision what it was based on. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So I'm looking, I don't know if we want to display, but if I look at the chart again, that was presented, it shows, I still don't see where the market value, salary, where I still don't see where it comes from. And if we give merit increases or things like that, that's a different story. But when I look at the market range, and I'll start with the library director, because the chief of police, when I look at the ranges and the actual salaries, they're much more in line with the proposed salary. But as far as a library director goes, Tom, if I read the chart and it says Simsbury to the average, I'm just not seeing, I see a 9% increase. I don't see the lineup of salaries.
I mean, it's right above it. It's on the chart. So library director, maximum Simsbury 121, Avon 132, Bloomfield 149,
Yep,
Chester 130. Those are the market rates.
those are the max.
Maxes. So those are the market ranges. So our range is 11,000 lower than Avon, but 27,000 or 28,000 lower than Bloomfield, and so on and so forth, right? Then there's the actuals.
Yep.
So we're paying less than, so that's more of the market, right? But the market is also determined between what people are currently making and what the maximum is. Because if somebody leaves, they're presumably not going to make less than the person that left that role.
Well, that could be based on experience, though, correct?
Could be, but generally speaking, you don't make less than your predecessor.
Well,
I mean, there's a whole bunch of employment issues with that. So
even in any space, because as we know, in corporate space, that doesn't apply.
I mean, it does, depending on the role, right?
And the experience level, correct?
Right. You have to bring people in at minimum ranges, right? So the point being is that I think the number was, and so I'm confused. We voted and sent this to the Board of Selectmen, so I don't know why it's back here.
Right.
Well,
Quite honestly.
you could ask Lee and Tom why it's back here. They thought it would be better to bring it here.
That's great. We voted to send it to the Board of Selectmen. So that was the legislative approval. So what is being brought back here? Because this was forwarded to the Board of Selectmen with our approval, 2-1.
I will let Lee and Tom weigh in on that because they felt this was a better forum to discuss it. Is that true?
Yeah,
Well,
so
yeah, it's my understanding that at your last subcommittee meeting, you asked for additional information related to
Some of us did, Lee.
these
There,
two
but
positions.
there was a vote to send this to the Board of Selectmen.
Correct. For to approve the 2.4% increase. And if you read the minutes, there was additional data that was requested. I requested so that I could prove to the public why we were increasing certain salaries over 2.4. And
Correct.
my request, Sean, was to see that number so I could say, yes, this salary is increased because we're not paying market rate, right?
Don't disagree with you. Yeah, you did ask for it. However, that was not a vote. The vote was to send this to the Board of Selectmen. And if you wanted to debate that there, it was your right to debate it there.
And I'm happy, I'm happy to move it straight to the board. I had asked to do that. And as a group, it was decided that we should come here and discuss it. So I'm happy to table it till Monday.
I just don't know what we're discussing because again, Lee, the vote was to send the salary recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. So what are we discussing here?
Well, I guess my question is the Personnel Subcommittee supporting our recommendation that these two that the people in these two positions be brought up to the max of the new range?
Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was my understanding.
I mean, my recollection is that I thought we had voted to pass this all along to the Board of Selectmen. I didn't think that we had tabled any action regarding specific positions that we were still holding open. Although I think, Wendy did ask for more information, but I thought that was more informational. I don't recall it holding up an action.
Nope.
Yeah, and I have expressed that I was happy to have this at the Board of Selectmen meeting. So I'm fine with that because I also had questions on the HR coordinator role to look at the value. So why don't we just all do that at the board level? Because we did pass the 2.4% increase. The motion was to approve the 2.4% increase, general wage increase across the board. These are not 2.4% increases, but let's just discuss it on Monday.
So then in that case, I'll formalize, I vote to approve the salaries as recommended. Including the adjustment for all above the 2.4, just to clarify, because that was my intent last time.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna, all those against, I'm actually gonna abstain until the board vote because I would like to see the numbers and have the discussion at the board level.
I mean, I think we have the numbers is what we're looking at.
I still don't see them, Sean.
What don't you, I mean, I'm looking at a chart, Wendy. What more are you looking for?
I'm looking for the reason that the salary, again, for the library director is the most one that I feel is out of line. To go up over 9%. Only because the range was bumped up. You don't always have to be at the max of the range. I mean, I know from corporate experience, people, and if I look at all the other positions, there are salaries that are not at the maximum. So I get making the maximum higher so that we have more room to deal with, but I don't see why the salary has to automatically go to the max of the range. And that's what I'm trying to say. It was presented that it was based on market values and comparisons. And when I look at the chart from the market that Tom put together, I'm not seeing that salary actual.
Well, I mean, just to make sure I'm looking at the right thing, we are proposing having the library director, the actual is at 121,295, which is the maximum. Is that what you're looking at?
That was the maximum.
Okay, and then like that is less than Avon and less than Bloomfield.
Not their actuals. Yeah, their actuals, but
Yes.
some, yep, but some are much lower.
And some are lower, and it's almost the same as South Windsor. So I think, to me, based on looking at this, even though this is going up to the maximum, it is still lower than some of our neighboring communities. And I think based on the performance of our library director and the outstanding services and awards that our library has won, and I support this market rate adjustment. I think that it's in line. It does not show that it is significantly out of line with our neighboring communities. And I guess that's just the judgment call that you have to make, but I don't know what more data we could get to support this. It's within, to me, this is within the line of our neighbors, and it's lower than some of them.
Okay, I'm just looking at the actual.
That's what I'm looking at.
We can bring it to the full board. I have no problem with that, and I will be happy to listen to everybody and say, but when I look at the library director actual, right? And
Yeah.
I think it shows that our actual is 6. If you can explain this bottom part, Tom, where it says the Simsbury average, is that over or above the average?
Nope. So the average line has the average of all the towns.
The
It's
one,
not, it doesn't include Simsbury for every position.
Yeah.
And then there's the Simsbury, which is our numbers minus the average to get if we're higher or lower.
so
And then same thing with the median.
The median is a more relevant number. The average means nothing. And I mean, when you're comparing libraries, you're also not comparing apples to oranges, right? So I mean, there's different levels of service. And I mean, Tom, the only library that's ranked ahead of us is Darien-Ann's, right? So we have the second best library, I believe, in our group in the state of Connecticut. We have a pretty substantial system from a library standpoint. You know, I venture to guess that, are we double, triple the size of Granby from Canton on a library basis? So again, it you know, from a staffing, from a management standpoint, so it is hard to compare this stuff. The bottom line is, the reason I support this is because when you go out to market and you negotiate with folks, generally you're higher. And again, I think we have a library director that we've had for a long time, a lot of tenure, a lot of success, a lot of creativity, and I'd rather pay to keep her. Is essentially what I'm voting for. But Wendy, like you said, we can take it to the board and have that discussion.
Yeah, let me ask Eric this question. I mean, if the note said that it was based on performance, I think then I would be fine with it. It doesn't say that. Is that something we can include?
I think it certainly should be taken into consideration, yes.
Pardon me?
I do think it should be taken into consideration, yes.
So if we can include that on the rationale for the salaries, I have no problem with it. It just says market range. It does not say merit or performance based. If it says that, then I can justify it based on the performance and the library value, but it doesn't say that.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think arguably it's still supported by the market. We have comparable towns to ours that are paying more. How is that not?
Amber, show me where it says we're paying more. That's all I want to say.
They are paying. Avon is 126, 229. Bloomfield is 122, 912. That is more than 121, 295.
It's not more than 132, which is this proposed. It's not more than 132.9, which is the proposed increase, which is what I'm questioning. That's an $8,000 increase, and it's a 9% increase. That is the question. Where did that come from? If it's coming from the market, I don't see it. If it's coming as a performance increase or merit increase, then it's a different story. And it just, if the wording includes that, then I'm fine with it, but it doesn't say that.
Yep.
So you agree with that? Because it doesn't show in the numbers that anyone's making that much money.
So regardless of what the recommendation is, my justification for changing it is what you just said. So
okay, so let's
me
put that
sending
in.
it to the I don't care what the document says. What I'm sending to the board is a recommendation based on both salary, merit, and market.
And I would say it's still within the maximum range. I guess I'm
Correct,
right.
correct. So I think we're good here.
Right, so if we include that, Eric or Tom, and we can just make that in part of our discussion, then I'm fine with it. I just wasn't sure we're allowed to make merit increases or performance increases, because I don't know if that will get pushed back from anyone else on the staff because they're not getting it. I don't know.
I guess my question too is on these actual numbers, if they are also last year's numbers. I mean, if we're comparing, you know what I mean? Like we're looking at this increase, but these other numbers are going to go up also. So we're comparing our increased number to their last year's wages. They might also be increasing as well. Right.
You confirm that, Tom?
Yep, all the values you see are as of May 2023. So
Right, so certainly they will, all the other towns will adjust their salaries and probably their ranges as well for the upcoming year. That's a very good point.
Yeah, July 1, yeah.
And we don't have that data, correct?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, not at this point.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to revisit it with that consideration, because that makes it, to me, a legitimate reason to bump the salaries. So let's just move it. Let's just bring it on Monday. I think it's on the agenda, or tentatively, so.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So Wendy, are you changing your vote on that basis, or you want to let your vote stand?
Based on that, I would definitely change my vote, as long as, yes.
Okay. We will make that modification in the chart.
Perfect.
And then in the minutes.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
The last item is the future meeting dates. Lee, do you want to bring that up, or?
I had raised a question since I'm on this 3-2 schedule, which is experimental. If I find out that it's not working for me or for the town, I'm certainly prepared to change it. But assuming that this can work, I'd like to request that the personnel subcommittee change its meeting days from Thursday to one of the first 3 days in the week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, so I can be in town hall for these meetings. And we can certainly continue them on a Zoom basis if you all would like to, but I'd certainly feel more comfortable being there rather than up here in Vermont for this important subcommittee meeting.
I'm fine changing them as long as we keep the Zoom option so that I can attend it. Because generally speaking, I have to fit this in with work.
Yep.
Yeah, I had shared that we had gone to Zoom, Sean, because we were all trying to get there at 8 o'clock. And if you couldn't make it, you were going to dial in anyway. So we would be dialing in.
Yeah.
And I did offer that to Lee, that I'm happy at least to keep it as it is through the summer, to dial in on Thursdays, because the double bonus from this is that it's recorded and it's able to be rewatched. Whereas when we were meeting in person, it was not always recorded. So it was only relying on the minutes. So
yeah, I think we can keep Zoom regardless of the day, Wendy, to address your concern, right? But if you guys are in the room, you can do that. We can just still Zoom in with me.
Or we could Zoom in too, right?
Right. Yeah, that's my point. Is we can still be recorded even if we change the day to help. I'm willing to change the day to help accommodate Lee's request to have him in town hall with his team.
Sure. That's fine. The only morning I can't do is Tuesday morning, and Monday mornings are tough because of the board meetings.
Yeah. So Wednesday, I can do Wednesday. That's fine. If Wednesday works.
Wednesday works for me.
I can do Wednesday as well.
Okay.
So we'll just have to make those special, but other than that, it's no big deal.
Is there any chance we could push it to 8:30, Sean, so that starts when people go to work for the office people?
The workday starts at 8, so.
At town hall? I thought it was 8:30.
Oh, you mean the not the real world? Yeah.
Yeah, the people that have to go into town hall.
Not the real world. Sorry. The rest of us start at 7:30. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But again, you're more likely to get me for a hard stop at 9. So we can do stuff in a half hour or order the agenda for the important stuff to get it done up front. That's fine with me if you move it to 8:30.
Okay, I'll let Tom and Lee, you guys decide that because you're the ones who are coming into the office. If you want to, gonna shoot to be there at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, and Eric also, I can make that work too, so.
Doesn't matter to me. I get in the office by 8, so 8's fine with me if you're all comfortable with that. And we'll see if we can make it work for Wednesday mornings. And do you generally like to have these meetings on a monthly basis or just as needs come up?
Yeah, it's scheduled for monthly. I look back last summer, I believe we canceled a couple of the summer meetings because
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
can the
have
July one.
agenda.
Okay, if there's nothing on the agenda.
Yeah. So we did have July and August, I think even June off last year. So that maybe will be the case for the next couple of months, which I wouldn't oppose unless there's anything critical.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
The vote.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.